Hello, my name is Zach Kazan. I'm the managing editor at Worn & Round. I'm joined today by Zach Weiss, co-founder of Worn & Round and Cat Shoulder's head of content at Worn & Round. And we've returned for another Thunderdome, one of our most popular series on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. We've done this a couple times before with Tudor twice, and Zach, you did one Speedmasters. Yeah. So today we're talking Nomos.
Yeah.
It's a Nomos Thunderdome.
This is interesting, yeah.
Well, Kat and I have new Nomos acquisitions within the last few months. Zach, you have a Nomos that you've had for a long time.
I was thinking about it, over a decade.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it before my sister's wedding. So
Very cool.
So I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of like battle it out with the Nomos watches. And I think with the three watches that we have here, it's kind of an interesting cross section of Nomos past and present. And before we start talking about our individual watches, Zach, maybe since you've kind of had, a decade's worth of experience, how do you sort of like view the brand?
Yeah, so thinking back then, so a little over a decade ago, like Nomos was like the accessible in-house movement brand. Like that's kind of what you thought of them as. Like for $1,200 to $1,500, you could get a Nomos Club or a Tangente or whatever it was, and get into this sort of higher level of horology, which was extremely exciting. And also the German-made thing, which was like kind of had a mystique to it, I'd say. Yeah. I'd say since then, the industry's changed a lot, and I feel like Nomos, though, has stuck to their roots. They're still significant, in their way.
Nifty's an appropriate word. When you get to Cat's Watch, I think there's a niftiness to it.
Cat's Watch is definitely nifty.
Yeah.
But then they're playful, and they do a lot of
watch.
really cool stuff. I don't know, nifty. Yeah. I'll go back. Nifty.
Would you still consider it entry level?
You're talking about the World Timer, you mean?
Well, the brand as a whole, essentially. Because I feel like when I got into the hobby, Nomos was very much an entry level brand.
I think it's like entry for a certain thing.
Yeah.
It's like not necessarily like your first watch kind of entry, but like you've maybe been into watches for a little while, and now you want to get to like that next level of esoteric sort of watch nerdiness.
Yeah, I think for a brand that like does a lot of their own stuff, like they have their own movement, they're kind of like their entry for like that type of watch. You get a little something kind of like extra with Nomos for sure. So let's get into the Thunderdome portion here. I guess I'll kick things off.
Let's do this.
I have a Nomos Metro here. This is the Nomos Metro limited edition for Ace Jewelers that came out a little earlier this year. It has a two-tone orange dial.
Yeah.
It's a 38mm case, very thin, very easy to wear, very comfortable. I've never owned a Metro before. I've had a few other Nomos watches that have never really quite stayed in the collection for one reason or another. But I really love the way this Metro case wears. And listen, I'm not going to try to convince you guys that this watch is like better than either of yours. Okay. I guess I'm like sacrificing victory here.
Yeah,
in the
Thunderdome.
I bought this watch because of its association with Ace Jewelers, honestly. Yeah. Like Alon, who runs Ace Jewelers, has become someone I look forward to seeing at Watches and Wonders, and Geneva Watch Days is just a great guy to chat with, a really great ambassador for like the types of small independent brands that we enjoy, including Nomos. I had a Ace collaboration years ago when they did, I think, their first or second club watch, and I always regretted selling that. And I just love it, and it's bright orange. I'm gonna have fun wearing this in the fall. It sort of looks like a pumpkin. Yeah. But it's sort of like more of a personal.
This was not intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These very autumnal New Balance are basically in the same palette.
I love it for a particular reason. It's an unusual watch, but I will ride for the Metro. The Metro case is great. It's very nice. Also, this is that's an automatic movement. Very thin. It's their DUW, automatic movement, which they've been using now for years. When I owned Nomoses in the past, that movement was still, it wasn't as like kind of spread out throughout the collection as it is now. They were still kind of like in the process of introducing it. So now it's really like the standard.
All right, well,
who's the next entrant?
Yeah. So I've got the Nomos Club Neomatic World Timer. I think if you're going to buy a Nomos, it should be really colorful. I think they do color really well. It's also why I think mine is the best one here. It's kind of the perfect package in a watch. You have 100-meter water resistant. It's a great size at 40 millimeters. You have a sporty bracelet. Also looks really great on a strap. It has really good lume. So it really, like, looking down my list of my check boxes I have when I'm buying a watch, it really hits everything. And then on top of that, it has a world timing function, which this is my first world timer that I've ever owned. We saw this all at Watches and Wonders this year. Zach, I think you were the first one to get hands-on with it.
I actually didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Okay.
I didn't have a meeting with Nomos at Watches and Wonders.
Okay.
So this is actually, I think, the first time I've been within like a few feet of one of these watches.
Well,
it's
pretty
press the button.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, the 2 o'clock pusher, obviously you engage that and it switches through the time zones. And I know you can't hear this on camera, but it's such a satisfying click. It's so fun to press. And it's really easy. It's like incredibly easy to use. I don't feel like I'm going to mess up the movement or the watch. You always have home time at the little sub dial at 3 o'clock. But yeah, when you came out of that meeting and you were just like, oh my God, Nomos did the best thing ever. And you were just raving and raving. And I was like, I need to like take another look at the watch. I got back home and was staring at all of them and immediately reached out to the boutique here in New York and was lucky to get my hands on the Dune colorway, which I think this embodies everything that Nomos is. You have the Bauhaus feel. It has a lot of the club, obviously a DNA in it, but you have a world timer and it's really sporty and it's water resistant and there's lume and it's just like packaged in a perfect watch with an in-house movement and it's still incredibly thin. It kind of does all the things.
Can I press the button?
Yes, you can press the button, yes.
Yeah.
This definitely was like, post Watches and Wonders this year, like the watch that stuck out in my memory as, not just like the best like watch under 5K, but like one of the most memorable watches from the show in general. And that the feel of that button, like it really is.
It is pretty
like,
satisfying.
It is the best button. Beats a chronograph. I don't know. It's so good.
Yeah, I think the only thing Nomos did wrong with this one, I would say, is limiting the colors to like 175 each.
Yeah.
I think, to me, the standard colorways are pretty boring, if I'm being honest. And I really wish that they would have just offered these colorways in sort of a standard format. And I'm probably going to guess that they're going to do more with this. They've been incredibly popular. They've sold out in a lot of ADs, and boutiques. I imagine they'll come back to that and do some more colors, which I hope they do.
But look, I'll just get into the pitch for mine.
Yeah.
The original club. This is the club classic. Before there were many a variation, before the line got diluted, dare I say, there was just the club manual wound. This is like 36 or even a little bit under millimeters.
Yeah.
But like, has the lengthy vampire fang lugs here that it gets some insults for, but it's
people have strong opinions on the long lugs.
But it helps because this is a smaller watch. It helps it wear, I think, pretty nicely on different wrists. But the thing that really stood out to me about this watch that always made it a little like funky was actually the red infill on the black hand. So where there could be lume, there isn't lume. There is just red paint. Very odd choice, but gave it this kind of sporty character that I think, it was always the intention of the club, right? The club was like their entry conceptually, I would say, even if it was priced sort of the same. Like it was like, oh, you don't want to go straight for the kind of Germanic, Bauhausy sort of feel of these other watches. Well, here's one that, feels a little bit more like a field watch and maybe has even some like subtle automotive influences in it. When I got this watch, it was like my favorite watch for a very long time. It was the most I'd spent on a watch for a very long time, even though I bought it secondhand. So I actually got it for like $800. It broke at one point and then sat in my box for too long, not working. I'd admire it. At the time, it was like, so to spend a couple $100 fixing this $800 watch, but the couple $100 was the difference between me getting another watch or fixing this old watch. So eventually I got it fixed, though, obviously. And for the last couple of years, I've been wearing it again. And it's just, I think of it as a field watch, right? Like a light dial field watch.
I've never considered that. To consider Nomos as it does fit that kind of category.
It just feels like one when you're wearing it. Also 100 meters on this little this little guy. I will say several years ago I got a little perturbed when Nomos started branching out in the club too much, and the club campus. As it's
not
called.
a fan of the club campus?
I do not like the club campus.
Oh, I love
I'll
the club
say that right now.
campus, yeah.
I'm not a California.
California dials device.
I don't like California dials, and that one's like an inverse California dial. And you didn't need to mess with this dial. This dial is just exceptional as is. It's balanced. Don't mess with it.
Well, they have clubs in like every millimeter from like 36 to like 41 or 42.
42, I think. Yeah, I remember once getting the 42 into review, and that was like a plate on my wrist. It just didn't size up very well. So honestly, when I heard about this one coming out, and it's 40 millimeters, I was like, that's too big for a club. But you add in the complications, and it sort of needs more size. And they did not like expand the lugs out with that. I think it's probably about the same lug to lug length. It does work.
Yeah.
You know, but is it a club anymore? I just don't know.
It's a club. The DNA is there. If you
very
see them
strange to
side
think
by
that
side.
those watches are part of the same family.
Yeah.
It's just the bigger and better sister of the club.
What do you guys like expect or want for the future of Nomos? Do you hope for like more innovative sort of complications and new designs in the line of the kind of in the same vein as the World Timer, or will they go back to just kind of like making a lot of different color variants?
Yeah.
I think they need innovation because, like, I agree with you. They became a like, let's make a watch for every person kind of a brand, and while perhaps successful commercially, that wasn't exactly the most like interesting thing as an enthusiast for the brand. And you know, I remember going to Basel World years ago, and like we'd run up to the Nomos booth like the first thing because they'd have the new stuff in the window, and like for a few years there was new interesting stuff for me. There was even the Autobahn watch, even it was like a kind of a failure. It was like provocative new stuff, and then that just kind of ended.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe around when the Neomatic started happening, they had the Minimatic, which was cool.
Yep.
Which also returned, even though now it's manual and still called Matic.
Yep.
Don't get me
And
started.
it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
too.
a little bit larger. Yeah, yeah. I felt like they kind of like maybe abandoned their roots a little bit in doing some of the stuff. But this one is just like a pure and simply very successcul watch. Like you said, it has everything you want in it.
I think we all keep waiting for that like new thing. They obviously hit it out of the park with this one, but yeah, I'm still kind of waiting on really what's the next thing for Nomos and what they're going to do. They have a special place in my heart. I've owned many club campuses over the years, and it's cool to have something now that is a kind of an iteration of that in my collection.
Nomos is interesting that way too, like because even going back to something I said before, where like maybe it's not your first watch, it's actually an amazing brand to recommend to anyone who's like interested in watches because yeah, I mean I think a lot of watch design is maybe we don't realize just how sort of ingrained you have to be sort of in the world to kind of appreciate, and Nomos is sort of like you can just appreciate it, like Nomos and Young Hands I feel like are kind of like those brands that you're going to show to anyone, they'll be like, yeah, that's just appealing.
All right, so in terms of the Thunderdome, this pseudo competition that we have, did you either of you guys convince the other that
this is a standoff? I'm not giving up. I think mine's the best one here for sure.
Look,
does that mean I have the tie-breaking vote? That's way too much responsibility.
We gotta ask the people.
Yes, I mean I think in the end
Clearly
people
this is
decide.
going to be resolved in the comments.
Yeah. I mean I had to put up a fight for mine. But like, if I were to get a Nomos now, it would obviously be the one you have, but for totally different motivations, right? I think it's the best travel watch probably on the market, at least that's been released recently, like under 5K or something,
I gotta say, I like the idea of the original club. I think it's still a really cool watch, but I'm happy with my Metro too. I feel like it suits me.
Yeah,
it's orange. So much orange.
Mine's kind of orange. It's yellow. It's more yellow.
It's a little, that one, I don't know. If you picked up a piece of fruit that was that color, you wouldn't want to eat it.
It's a nice ochre.
It's desert dune. Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys, for Thunderdoming it once again with our Nomos watches. We'll find another way to do a Thunderdome in the future. We'll leave it to you in the comments to let us know which Nomos wins out in this round of the Thunderdome. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. We'll see you next time.